Hey guys, and welcome to another speed build. So, I'm sorry again that it's been a while, but now that it's Christmas, my life is pretty chaotic when it comes to Christmas planning and ending this trimester, and there's just so many things, so I've been a little bit stressed and I'm sorry, but I did manage to get this build done, and it actually took me a while because I had actually almost built the whole entire thing, and then I for some reason had forgotten to save, and then my Sims crashed. So if I'm excessively saving during this time lapse, I'm sorry, but I was just so sad that I'd lost my other one, so that is why it will probably come up quite a lot, the saving thing. So but yeah, anyways, this build is a farm-esque home, I would say, because I had actually played around with the thought of making like a traditional Danish farmhouse, which there are a lot of in Denmark, like converted from old townhouses to normal, like modern homes, but from the outside it still looks like a farmhouse. But I played around with that and I just couldn't make it work, so I decided to keep some of my ideas and then make this instead, which also has kind of the same vibes as the Danish ones because it does have like a little garage kind of shed thing built in, like this left part over here. That's gonna be like a little shed thing where there's like, it's kind of like a pantry, but there's also a workbench and also where you can keep like gardening stuff and tools and things like that. So I kept that, and then yeah, this is, I hope you guys like how it turned out. I was pretty happy with the result. I think this is one of the houses where I've spent most time on the exterior and like the whole just garden area and outside area, because I really wanted this build to look nice from the outside, like welcoming and kind of realistic, where there's like a little what's it called, like a little area in front of the house where you can like drive in and you can like park if you have guests and stuff like that. So I wanted to make it feel real in that way, in that sense. So that's why I spent so much time outside. Also because I feel like I've neglected my like vegetation stuff lately. I don't know why. I just feel like I haven't been that good at putting out plants and stuff. And I feel like today it's kind of hard to see a house where there isn't like some form of vegetation or something outside. So and also sticking with the whole Danish farmhouse vibe, normally there's a lot of vegetation. So yeah, that is also a reason. So yeah, I'm playing a lot around with the house, and that is because I have all these diagonal walls randomly sitting here and there, which makes the roof situation a little bit tedious, because sometimes the roof, like even though I have the roof that overhangs a little bit on most of the sides, it doesn't work that well with the diagonal walls. For some reason, the diagonal roofs are like a bit longer than the wall or something. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I can never like make it properly work with the diagonal walls. So it took me a while. And I also wanted to make this build because even though I just did post a beach house for Sims for cats and dogs, I realized that these windows can also be used in other ways, if I can put it like that, because I know mainly like the majority of the color options are like these pastel colors and white, but you could also have them in brown, and that is kind of what started this whole color scheme, was because I saw that the windows had like this brown frame, and then it was like white in the middle, and that's why this house is kind of like brown and white, kind of keeping that color scheme. So that is also another reason, because Sims for cats and dogs, their items can be used for so much more than just beach houses, and I kind of wanted to play around with that. So that is what I'm doing for this build. And this build will be for 4 people, and I also, because Sims 4 Cats and Dogs just came out, I couldn't help myself but include a pet. So there's also room for a pet. In this case, I did it for a dog, because even though in Danish farmhouses normally people have cats, because like for mice and stuff like that, I feel like here in The Sims 4 Cats and Dogs that they have a lot of decorative items for dogs, like dog treats and the leashes and stuff. But whereas if you want some decorative items for cats, I feel like it's just those huge, like those tiny things they can crawl on and scratch on, and they're quite big. So it's not as easy to put one of those in as a decorative item as it is to put like a little shelf with a leash on. So that is simply the only reason I've made this for a dog. I'm sorry. I will make some houses for some cat people, I swear. I'm just so bad. I've never had a cat. I'm allergic to cats, so I don't really know what you kind of need, whereas I kind of know what the vibe is when you have a dog. But if you have any suggestions, let me know. I don't know if it's just me or because I'm like not looking for it, but I don't feel like there's that many. I feel like there's more dog things than there are cat things, even though I know that like many of the supposed dog things you can actually change the color options, and then it often changes from like bones to like fish bones, kind of to get like the cat vibe. But I honestly don't know. But yeah, I feel like there's more like dog-ish things, but again, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I will make some houses for some people with cats. If you want that, just let me know. I can play around with that. That would be new for me as well. But yeah, here I am working on the outside of the house, and I wanted there to be a fenced-in yard, and that is one because of the dog, bringing it up again, and it's also because I thought it would kind of make it a little bit easier to contain myself, because now here I'm making the front, I wouldn't call it a front yard, but like the front part of the house where, again, a car could come in and park, or kids could play, and I don't know, I just imagined it would be nice to have like a big area out front so you could do something there. And I also imagined that like if you had to work on the car or paint something, like, I don't know, something house related, a window or something, a windowsill, and you could bring it out and paint it up front. I don't know. I think it would be nice to have a little area out front so like people couldn't go all the way up to your house, like you still own that part in front. So yeah, I made this little nook for a car, and I thought about making the diagonal part of the right side of the house, make that into a garage. But then again, I thought I already have that little shed thing where there's going to be a workbench and stuff, and since cars aren't really usable in The Sims, I feel like it was a kind of waste of space, especially when you look at the house in completion. I felt like it has a good size. It's not too big, but it's not too small either. I mean, there's room for everything. They have kind of everything you need, but without having like empty spaces or any compromises. So I actually think the size of the house turned out pretty great. But yeah, I decided not to go for a garage and just have the car outside, also just for decorative reasons. Looks a little more real that way. And for the lawn, I didn't want to, I'd already spent so long at this point on the outside, so I thought I was just for once gonna just have a plain yard with grass, just normal grass in the yard, because I mean 9 out of 10 people do have quite big areas, so like of grass, and also if they have a dog, they can play around with the dog in the yard. But yeah, I feel like often when I play The Sims, I will make the backyard like over the top with vegetation and plants and flowers and stuff like that. And when I think about it, I know very few people who have a garden like that. Normally they have a tree here and there, and then they just have grass. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's nice to have some free space. And then I added some stripes on the ground just to kind of, you know, polish it up a bit, make it a little bit more like grass. If that makes sense. But yeah, I also imagined that shed thing I added would be like a perfect place to have like a lawnmower, even though they don't have lawnmowers in The Sims 4. Yeah. So working on the upstairs, I noticed quite quickly that my rooms were going to be a little bit awkward, as they normally are. For some reason, I cannot make square rooms when it comes to bedrooms. They are always wonky and filled with walls and odd shapes, and I'm just an expert in that apparently. So but yeah, now we're downstairs again. I'm moving a little bit up and down. But yeah, here I'm working on that shed thing I was talking about. So there's going to be a workbench and there's a sink. I was thinking I'm not going to add some paw prints on the floor, and that's because if your dog needs to be washed, and there's a hose outside, so either if it's summer they can be wash their feet with the hose, but if it's cold they could go into the shed with the dog, and there's a sink there so they can kind of wash them off if they need to do that. So I was thinking a lot of the practical reasons, like how I would do it personally or what I would prefer, and I think that would be nice to have like a little area that is still indoors but isn't that clean, so that's why I added some boxes and just kind of know it was like not, it was like a workspace. It wasn't necessarily just like, it wasn't a pretty space, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just added a little bit here and there just so it wasn't too empty, and then I will put in the paw prints on the floor just to give it a little vibe of dirty dogs have been there. But yeah, now we're moving on the inside. I really wanted to have a bathroom downstairs, and I actually didn't know if this was possible, but I wanted to see if I could make this little diamond shape, this little amethyst shaped room into a bathroom downstairs, because as I've said a lot of times, it's nice if you're heading out and you need to use the bathroom and you've put on your shoes, you don't have to take them off and go upstairs to use the bathroom. So I thought it would be nice to have a little something. Also, if you have guests, if like, it's a reason for them not to go upstairs, because in case you haven't cleaned up upstairs or something, they don't have to go up there. So but yeah, apparently it works with this size and this shape of a bathroom. My sim could still access the toilet and the sink. So that's something I know now. Again, for if I am gonna build a tiny house again soon, I will know that that is a pretty good shape. If they don't want to shower, that is. So but yeah, now working on the downstairs, I wanted there to be a separate dining room, but not necessarily like a fancy one. I just wanted there to be a separate dining room in case they had dinner guests over, and they could have like a space for themselves where there didn't necessarily was a TV. If that makes sense. Because when I was younger and my parents had dinner guests, we always had like a separate room where the TV was in. So whenever me and my sister got bored or just didn't understand what they were talking about, we were excused to leave the table, and then we would go in, watch TV, and we could close the doors, and then they could sit and talk about adult stuff, and we could sit and watch movies and stuff. So I imagine that these openings that are in the walls between the dining room and the living room in this build have like these, like the sliding doors. I really wish they would add sliding doors. It would make everything so much easier. But I imagine they were there so the kids could go in and watch TV if they didn't want to be part of the, I don't know, if they just wanted some privacy, or if they just didn't want to listen to the sound of the TV, they could close the door in the dining room. I don't know, I'm thinking a lot, I'm overthinking it way too much, but for the living room, I wanted there to be, of course, a TV, and then a little reading nook. And I feel like I include that in a lot of my builds, and again, I just think it's because I've always had, like, everywhere I've lived, there's been, like, a little reading nook. Now my parents have a library, so there are, like, 2 reading nooks in that library. But yeah, I thought in case if the parents want to be in the living room but don't necessarily want to watch TV, they can just put their feet up and take a book, and they can just sit and relax. And yeah, I feel like I just kept that in mainly for the parents' sake, because I feel like today you don't really grab a book that much anymore. You probably take an iPad or your phone or your laptop or something. But yeah, I just added in also because it looks nice with the bookshelf. I like bookshelves. They look so homey. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, it was pretty fast, but outside I also made a little covered terrace thing so they can sit outside if it's really warm and they want to sit in the shade, or it's raining a little bit but it's still really warm, so they can sit out and they can grill and stuff like that. So yeah, like looking back now, I can see the living room is pretty big and airy, but on the other hand, I feel like it's probably nice that way if like I feel like the room was like a weird enough shape, and a lot of things were going on with the staircase and the door leading outside and stuff like that. I felt like that was enough, so if I started putting in shelving with a lot of things on, I felt like it would become too messy, so I just kept it the way it was. So now I'm in the dining room. Everything's going so fast, I'm sorry. But yeah, I didn't want it to be something too fancy. I wanted it to look nice and cozy, so that's why I just put in these wooden chairs and this wooden, table, and this side table thing. And that is again taking from my Danish farmhouse vibes. Normally, but a lot of times if you buy an actual old farm and you want to renovate it and refurbish it for yourself, 9 out of 10 times there will be old furniture in the house. And I have often seen and experienced people taking that old furniture and like redoing it, either repainting it or repurposing it some way, so when they have it in the house, they can tell people, oh, this chair is actually 100 years old and it has been here since the house was built, or something like that, you know? So that's why I wanted to keep some of the old furniture in, just so it still has that vibe. And this also, here in the kitchen, I chose these wooden cabinets and wooden counters. So also it would still have a little farmhouse, but like farmhouse vibe, but it would still be modern. And for some reason, I don't know if it's something to do with the diagonal walls, but all the corners were like pitch black dark. Like I don't know if you can see it, but they just became black. And I even tried to put light sources in there and it didn't work. So I ended up covering them with a coffee machine and a microwave. The only logic thing to do in this kind of situation. But I don't know why I did that. Like, also when I removed the counters, it was also on the floor. There was like a black spot. I'm not entirely sure why that happened, but it's probably because of the diagonal walls. I've been having a lot of issues with diagonal walls for some reason. I don't know if it's just me, but I figure that's probably why I don't use them that often, because I have so many issues with them. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully, let me know if you guys download this. Let me know if it still shows up as black corners, because I mean, you don't really see them, but you can try to remove the microwave and see if there's something. So like a black corner, because if there isn't, it's probably something on my end that's wrong. But it would be nice to know, because it would be nice to have diagonal walls without having black holes in the corners. But that's just me. I don't know. So going upstairs, there will be a family bathroom, 2 kids' bedrooms, a master bedroom, and I decided to make one of the bedrooms a teenage girl's room, and she will have an ensuite. And I decided that because she has the smallest, most awkward room I've ever seen or ever built. So and not awkward in that way that it looks weird like on the inside. It's more like the walls are a bit wonky, and it's pretty small considering she's a teenager. Wow, sorry. But I felt like when I was younger, I had a really small room, and when I then upgraded and got my sister's room, which was actually 2 rooms that were connected, I barely used my other room because I liked having my little habitat. So that's why I decided that the teenager here should have a smaller room, because I don't know, it's nice to have your own little space. And so that's why there's also going to be a weird wall, but that is because I really wanted to give her a desk, and I couldn't really place it anywhere unless I placed a wall. So that is why I did that. And I was kind of going for a Tumblr vibe here with the shelving here. I think there's going to be a candy, is it called candy skull or a sugar skull? One of those skulls that are like painted. I'm going to add those. And I felt like, I don't know, I really like this bedroom. Because it could be like a teenager, but it could also be a bit younger of a girl, but it could also be like a younger woman. I didn't add any toys because I did see it as a teenager who was probably going to move out soon. So this is the awkward wall I put in, but she also has a wardrobe. I feel like even though she does have the small bedroom, I feel like it's kind of nice to have this bedroom because she has a wardrobe and an ensuite, which would be kind of nice. So it's like, it's compromised, but she has, I mean, it's made up for. So her bathroom will have a shower. It's a little tiny, just 2x2, but she has everything she needs. And I think rather have your own bathroom than have no bathroom at all, or to share it with 3 other people. So moving on to the hallway, I did make a separate office, so I decided that this little nook in the hallway should be for a desk, just in case. I mean, I didn't imagine any of the parents being like the working at home type of people. I imagined that they had to go out. Like, I actually thought about making one of them a vet, just because I really want to try playing as that, like playing with a vet. So, and normally they can't really bring home their stuff, so I just imagined that they could have this little desk, and then it was just like once in a while to check their mails, or for the kids to, or mainly one of the kids, so they could like play games or whatever, just a little thing. But it wasn't too far away, it was just like in the hallway. So yeah, I didn't have a home office. I feel like I've done that quite a lot, so I wanted to try something else. And also I had a big haul, so why not? But yeah, for the for the bedroom for the parents, I just made it simple, a little with some darker colors here and there, and then I put these 3 pieces of art on the wall because I imagined one of them being like creative but more like an art aficionado, if that makes sense. Like they maybe an art collector or someone who works in a gallery or something like that, since they have like these displayed on the wall. And also I've used the same paintings downstairs, so I imagine maybe it's their favorite artist, or maybe one of them was the artist, or something along the lines of that. And now for the last bedroom. It is a boy's bedroom or a girl's bedroom, but basically it's all about sports. I wanted this to be a sports bedroom, but where the person hadn't quite decided yet if it was more about baseball or basketball or football. It was just sports. And also they have a solar system light because I think they look super cool and I want one. But yeah, I feel like I felt like it was just sport, and I feel like the sim has probably just active, just likes being outside, just like playing around and stuff. So that is why I have a lot of sports stuff in there. Because when I was younger, the boys in my class, they played a lot of, like, a little bit of here and there, like a lot of different stuff, if that makes sense. So anyways, we are at the end. Wow. Here are the screenshots. I hope you guys enjoyed. It is up for download in the gallery, and if there's anything you want to see, let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of these videos in the future, then don't forget to subscribe. But that was it for this time. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!